All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome. It's really nice to see such a full house tonight. So good evening. My name is Shannon O'Neill. I'm the curator for the Tamiment Library and Robert F. Wagner Labor Archives. And on behalf of the Tamiment, NYU Special Collections, and NYU Libraries, I'm really happy to welcome you all here tonight. The Tamiment is one of the largest repositories documenting labor, labor organizing, working people, and the working class. As such, we're proud to host the New York Labor History Association's 39th annual John Commerford Labor Education Awards. This year, let's give a little round of applause. This year, we're honoring Jennifer Abruzzo and Mary Anne Trasciatti for their enduring contributions to workers' empowerment through their scholarship, activism, leadership, and advocacy. Let's give a round of applause. Our gathering this evening is made possible through the work of many people. Thank you to NYU Facilities, NYU TV and Campus Media, and NYU Libraries External Engagement. I want to give thanks to the New York Labor History Association for creating and continuing this important celebration, and to our collaborators at Labor Arts for their ongoing support. I also want to acknowledge our longtime partners at the New York City Central Labor Council and give a special welcome to Brendan Griffith, who was newly elected president of the New York CLC in July this year. Thank you, finally, to all of you who are here tonight in person or online. For anyone who's joining us for the first time, I hope you'll come back again. I'd like to now invite public historian, retired New York High School social studies teacher, and longtime creator of the New York Labor History Association's annual Labor History Month calendar, Joe Doyle, to share some remarks about the New York Labor History Association. Thanks, Joe.
We are lucky enough to have some past winners of the Commerford Awards here today with us. Rebecca Damon from SAG-AFTRA in the back there. And Brenda Berkman, New York City's first female firefighter. And scholars Alice Kessler Harris, Dorothy Sue Cobble, and Miriam Frank. The New York Labor History Association was founded in 1976 to bring together trade unionists with academics, archivists, educators, students, labor journalists, retirees, and New Yorkers interested in the history of working people and their organizations. New York Labor History Association organizes labor history conferences, book parties, occasional walking tours, and this year we started a book club in collaboration with the Emergency Workers Organizing Committee. Keith Danish edits our newsletter. It's an online newsletter, and he recruits reviewers to send out book reviews nearly every month. This month he sent out 4 book reviews. We do a labor history calendar in the month of May, listing events and exhibitions in the tri-state area as a way to celebrate May as Labor History Month. 2026 will be our 50th year as an organization. If you're not a member, we have a table tonight in the back. Sam Davis and I will be in the back at the labor history table. Membership only costs $20 a year, and as an incentive, we are offering a free copy of an illustrated labor history map of New York State, which details 387 events since the 1600s. That map is one of the best things New York Labor History Association has ever done Jane Latour chaired a committee that worked for years to find, I think they found eventually 387 events. This year we're going to do a little work session where we put together labor historians with volunteers, and we'll try to do an online update of that calendar and also create some Wikipedia entries for some of those events that are not in Wikipedia. I think this map makes a great holiday gift. We're selling it in the back for $10, or if you're not yet a member of the organization, please join us and pay $20 and get a free map. Please welcome Keith Danish, who's made it his mission in recent years to find out more about John Commerford, the namesake of the Commerford Awards.
Yes, every year we take a moment to remind our audience that John Commerford was a significant figure in U.S. labor history. He was a leader of our first labor movement almost 2 centuries ago, so he deserves to be remembered. Commerford headed the General Trades Union in New York City, which brought together the unions of skilled workers, and he was a major figure in the National Trades Union that sought to unify unions on a national level. Commerford was also a pathbreaker, engaging in what we would call consciousness raising to help his brethren appreciate their worth and the value of their labor. Unfortunately, the nascent labor movements of that era were wiped out by economic depressions or panics, and not until the 1880s was a labor movement established on a sounder footing, although many say that the rights of workers remain insecure. When we confront problems with organizing today, we should understand that it has never been otherwise in this country. Now, our knowledge of Commerford's life is incomplete. We have no photo or drawing of him. He was born in Hackensack, New Jersey in 1800, had a wife, he had a son who played pro baseball in New York City, and he was a cabinet and furniture maker with a shop at 452 Broadway. He spoke out and wrote in favor of public education, land reform, and other egalitarian reforms, and against prison labor. He ran unsuccessfully for Congress several times, also for New York City mayor on the National Reform Party ticket. Commerford died in 1878. Now, with the assistance of Princeton history professor Sean Valence, we located an unmarked grave for Commerford in Brooklyn's beautiful Greenwood Cemetery. The cemetery generously installed a grave marker identifying John Commerford as a pioneering labor leader. Our association will continue to keep his memory alive and celebrate his efforts and achievements for working people. And now, let's welcome a New York music powerhouse who will introduce our singer. Alina Bloomgarden capped a long career at Lincoln Center by serving as originating producer of jazz at Lincoln Center, that beautiful jazz club in the sky by Columbus Circle, where she brought in Wynton Marsalis to be on the artistic advisor. Alina also launched and now still directs Music on the Inside, MOTI, to provide incarcerated youth and adults a path to healing and achievement through music, education, and mentoring. Welcome, Alina.
I got it now. Thank you so much. What a lovely introduction. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. And I'm just going to say a few words. Music on the Inside, we bring education, support, mentorship to people who've been impacted by incarceration. And it's just been amazing, wonderful work to see how many talented people there are and how appreciative they are when there's some support. And tonight I have the honor to introduce one of our Moti Reentry Dream Band singers, a wonderfully self-educated gentleman who's really gone through a lot and come out of it as such a fantastic performer and human being. Please join me in welcoming Greg Dowdy. Oh, there's stairs.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about where I am tonight, this event, and honestly, I never heard of the New York Labor Historians Society, and I'm feeling a little bit bad about that because I would like to have known that this organization existed before right now. The voice of the historian is the voice that we all need to listen to. Sometimes the historian plays the role of being the watcher on the wall to warn us, and sometimes the historian plays the role of reminding us. The song I'm going to sing tonight, this first song, was made famous recorded by Sam Cooke, and his is a voice that reminds us in this song that no matter where we are in our lives, if we find ourselves in a low place, change is on the way, and change is going to come. And that's the name of the song. Now, I'm doing this, as you see, there's no piano or guitar. So I got to be sure that I get the right key, because the song goes through changes. So if I stop and change keys, forgive me. I was born by the river in a little tent. And just like that river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I knew change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. And I go to the movies, and I go downtown. Somebody keeps telling me, don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I knew change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Oh, then I go to my brother. Oh, I say, brother, help me, please. Oh, yeah. Oh, but he always winds up knocking me down to my knees. Oh, there've been times when I thought I just could not go on, but right now I'm able, to carry on. Been a long time coming, but I knew change gonna come. I said it's been a long time coming, but change is gonna come. That's it.
What a treat. Thank you so much. We're inspired. Susan Davis is going to be our next speaker. She is the managing partner of Cohen, Weiss, and Simon, with decades of experience representing national and local unions, advising on everything from collective bargaining to organizing and strategic planning. She agreed to do this in the, now I just have to say, she agreed to do this in the middle of Broadway negotiations with the Broadway unions. So we are grateful for you being here tonight.
Hi, everybody. We avoided a Broadway strike, so that's good. In case you Okay, I am extremely honored to introduce my friend Jennifer Abruzzo, who I haven't seen since before the dark days, so it's wonderful to see you. She is considered by workers and unions in this country, and the labor bar is the greatest general counsel that we have ever seen, that the agency has seen, and I am perfectly capable of pandering and being hyperbolic, but I'm not. So for those of you who live in this small world we live in, she's been extraordinary. I think most of you know Jennifer was the first Democratic woman to serve as general counsel at the National Labor Relations Board, which is sort of shocking. Yeah. I only have 5 minutes. We have to not clap too much. At the beginning, when she was appointed by President Biden back in 2021, she came right out of the gate and made her intentions extremely clear. She said she is going to fulfill the mandate of the National Labor Relations Act, which is to promote collective bargaining. And you obviously can't promote collective bargaining unless you're able to organize a union. And she set out and really was an extraordinary source in facilitating union organizing during that time. When she was appointed, the press, when she started going, and she started going really quickly, the press was brutal. The J.D. Super said, "We knew the pendulum would swing, but we didn't anticipate it would be so swift and so forceful." Business Insider accused her of, quote, quietly shaking up the state of labor in America. It wasn't quite quiet after the beginning. The Wall Street Journal, which is certainly not a bastion of support for the labor movement, said she wants to turn the labor board into a spear for unions against employers, finally, and she will rewrite the law in order to do it. So of those of you who know the agency know that the general counsel is like the prosecutor. She brings the cases, and the labor board actually makes the law. So she couldn't do that, but her extraordinarily aggressive promotion of labor rights brought cases to the Biden board and allowed them to issue a series of decisions that were progressive and aggressive and really a game changer. And it was really because they were carrying out the mandate that Jennifer brought. Under her leadership at the agency, we experienced a complete turnaround. Now, her predecessor was the Trump general counsel, and so it was kind of a low bar, but you did extraordinary things. If I had a lot of time, I would tell you all of them. I don't. I'm going to highlight a couple things. But she really prioritized worker protections and remedies, which were so limp before she started her work, and really became meaningful after she did. She brought real change to that agency. It was foundational. It was radical. It is still in place because they haven't been able to confirm a labor board yet, so we're still living under the law that was created then. It was disappointing to sort of see the escalating stream of criticism from most of the management community, the business community, the management bar. But in the face of really sometimes very brutal, personalized attacks, Jennifer was undeterred. She kept going like that engine that keeps going. And there was very mean-spirited criticism, and it did not slow her down. Jennifer generated, this is a true statement, not as opposed to everything else I'm saying, but in addition to everything else I'm saying, she generated more press for the labor board and workers than I've been doing this for 42 years. I have never seen as much attention on workers' rights in the labor board. I used to go to a cocktail party and you say you're a union lawyer and people are like, what? But then, you see Starbucks and you see Amazon and you see stuff in the paper and support for union surges, and it's kind of a cool thing to be, so thank you for that. She gave workers real hope that they had rights, not just in unionized workplaces, but non-union workers as well, and that there would be an agency that would actually carry out those rights, which had not been for quite some time, and there will not be for quite some time again. And for those of us in the union bar, she really gave us tools to be able to do our work that we didn't have before. So a couple of highlights of things that Jennifer took on that were really dormant before. She went after the exploitation of college athletes and allowed some of them to be categorized as employees, which sort of has been part of the pattern of the rights and the NIL that athletes at colleges have been gaining. She made it clear that we would not accept a workplace that allowed intimidation and harassment of workers based on their immigration status, which was pretty unprecedented. She, one of the, I think most high profile and really important things she did, she went after employer captive audience meetings, which when you're organizing a union, it was legal until this time for an employer to mandate employees to come sit down and listen to them harangue for an indefinite period of time about why they should not vote for a union. That became an unfair labor practice. We don't have to any longer, at least for the moment, accept employers misclassifying employees as independent contractors, which just gets rid of all their statutory rights. And finally, my personal favorite, she took a decision from the 1940s, right, to Joyce Silk, from the 1940s that had been dead since the 1940s, and she revived it, and that created a path towards recognition of a union that did not involve having to go through a board election where an employer would use every legal and illegal tool in its toolbox to prevent unionization. That was really important. So on a personal note, I have to add that Jennifer is one of the kindest, biggest, heartiest, most beautiful humans on this planet, and I'm really proud to be able to introduce you. So Jennifer Abruzzo.
Wow, that was wonderful. Thank you, Susan, my friend. So just a couple of things. I know I have 10 minutes, so a little more time. But a couple of thank yous. I want to thank my mom for being here, Sandy Burgess. Frankly, her love and support and guidance allows me to do what I do and be here. And another family member, my brother from another mother, Sebastian Damiani, and his lovely partner, Mary Anne Rich, for always having my back and cheering me on. And of course, my sister in arms, Susan Davis, who is so committed and talented and beautiful, and I'm so fortunate to have her as a friend. And then finally, I want to congratulate Mary Anne Trasciatti, who is being recognized for her tremendous work, so I can't wait to hear her, and so I'll try to go quickly through my speech. But this is about education, right? And I was at the NLRB, National Labor Relations Board, for almost 30 years, and my goals were always the same. It was to educate, protect, and enforce. So, we need to learn from history, right? I mean, it's important that we learn from history. So a little bit of context. The reason why the National Labor Relations Act was enacted in the first place was because there was so much inequity going on in the country. Does it sound familiar? And that was leading to violence, strikes, and other activity. And so Congress rightly thought, okay, let's level the playing field. Let's give workers rights so that they can negotiate with their employers and actually make gains and actually improve their lot in life and actually be valued for the work that they perform for their profit-making enterprises. And the thought was, by doing so, it would help spur economic growth, which in fact it did. And so the issue, though, is education is key. If workers don't know they have rights, if they don't know there's an agency out there that will protect those rights, they won't exercise them. So I felt that education was one of the most important things that we did during my tenure as general counsel. And we tried to do a really good job in making sure that all populations, but in particular vulnerable populations, felt empowered to demand a seat at the table. And frankly, I didn't care if they were affiliated with a homegrown union, an established labor organization. It did not matter. What mattered was that they could speak up and felt comfortable speaking up about substandard wages and benefits, about lack of training opportunities, about inequities in the workplace, about discrimination. I was really pleased. I mean, Susan mentioned a couple of cases. One of the cases that I was really happy the Biden board took on and agreed with me with was when workers are engaged in racial justice or economic advocacy, like Black Lives Matter, for example, and it has a connection to something they're experiencing in their own workplace. Even though it's a broader societal interest, it is protected, concerted activity, something for which they cannot be retaliated against. And that's a Home Depot case that I commend you to look at. But in addition, I mean, Susan already talked about, you know, knowledge is power. And too often we've seen employers exploit the fact that workers don't know their rights, and they squelch organizing activity. That's why I wanted to ban captive audience meetings, why it was important to have bargaining orders so that workers aren't coerced into not voting for a union because of fear of retaliation, and requiring bargaining between a low-road employer and a chosen representative. So I felt like, and I feel like in this moment in particular, you know, we have to celebrate our successes. We impact people each and every day in positive ways. And, you know, we've talked about a couple of cases. I will mention, and Susan brought this up, and it's 100% correct. You know, the Biden board precedent is still precedent now. We are helping workers and working families every single day because these laws are still on the books. Whether it's getting consequential damages for people who have been unlawfully fired, whether it's ensuring there's not broad provisions in handbooks or severance agreements that, you know, don't allow workers to actually act together to improve their circumstances, misclassification of workers, making sure that there's the status quo when there's bargaining. So we just have to remember all of that and pat ourselves on the back, and remember that there is strength in numbers. And in this moment, I think it's really important for us to be acting collectively to change the climate that is elevating corporate interests above workers' rights, and that is amplifying corporate billionaire donors' voices over our voices and squelching our actions. And so we need to meet this chaos with strategic chaos, and we know how to do it. It's not like we haven't done it before. 250 years ago, you know, ordinary citizens in Boston decided that they were not going to put up with a tax on tea, and it helped start the, you know, American Revolution. So we know where our power lies. You withhold your labor and you withhold your purchasing. And so that's what we need to be doing in this moment. We need to be getting out there in the streets, and we need to be protesting over these substandard wages and benefits, injustices that are going on in the workplace, making sure that our laws are actually being enforced. And we need to hold our elected officials accountable, and if they're not representing our interests, kick them the F out, just like we did a couple of weeks ago, and bring in people that are actually going to represent our interests, the interests of workers and working families in this country. So I feel like at this moment, unfortunately, I was with the National Labor Relations Board, a federal agency, for almost 30 years. I feel this is a moment where states need to step up, states need to be creative, states need to be bold, states need to be the ones to protect workers in this country, because the federal government is not doing so. The NLRB itself can issue decisions. There's no more independence because this president feels he can fire any decision maker at whim. We've got the Fifth Circuit that's enjoined any cases that are going on in Texas, Mississippi, and Louisiana. I mean, so this is a moment where states need to step up, and they need to use their police powers to protect their citizens' rights, to organize and collectively bargain in this country, and to protect their freedoms of speech, assembly, and association. United States constitutions and many state constitutions have those freedoms in there, and it's up to the states to do that. Now, New York has passed a law just recently to do just that. California, the same. I'm involved in defending both of those cases at the moment. But I really am encouraging other states to step up similarly and address the dysfunction that is happening with regard to the federal government. And, we have to keep, we keep meeting challenges, but we have to just barrel through those challenges and do what we need to do that we know we can do. Because at the end of the day, this is all about us against the 1%ers. This is an assault on one is an assault on all. And we have more in common than that which separates us. And let's not forget, in New York, 9/11, we were not terrorized. We were heroes. We unified, and we took care of each other. And so in this moment, I feel we need to use our collective power to make sure that we are acting in solidarity with one another, and so that we maintain a land that is full of promise and opportunity for everyone. So thank you all. I really appreciate it. I'm honored and humbled, and thank you.
We're all inspired. Brian Greenberg is a labor historian, a labor activist, a recent Commerford honoree himself, and he has some awards for students to tell us about.
Good evening. The New York Labor Association has, since 2012, awarded the Bernard Bellish Prize in appreciation of outstanding scholarship submitted by graduate students in American labor and work history. Students are asked to, when they submit their work, not to submit either a published work or a full dissertation. The Bellish Prize honors the contribution to labor history made by Bernie Bellish as a scholar, as an activist, as a teacher. I was in his class. The New York Labor History wants to thank Bernie's daughters, Jerry Goldberg and Debbie Bellish, for helping sponsor this award. To recognize serious study in American labor and work history among undergraduate students, the New York Labor History Association has, since 1987, annually awarded the Barbara Wertheimer Prize for the best unpublished research essay written during the previous academic year. Students, please do not submit an essay of more than 50 pages. The Wertheimer honors the contribution of Barbara Wertheimer as a leading labor educator and scholar. Both the Bellish and the Wertheimer Prizes provide an award of $500 and a year's free membership in the association. Entries are evaluated on the basis of scholarship and literary merit. An abstract of each paper is posted on the New York Labor History Association website. Entrants should email their paper to me, Brian Greenberg, at bgreenb, that's bgrenbe, at monmouth.edu. The deadline for 2026 is July 1. After careful consideration of the entries submitted for the 2025 Bellish Prize, the committee, Bob Wexler and I, chose Natalia Dubno-Shevin's paper, Liquidate Damages, Help the Union Survive. ILGWU became funded by deindustrialization for the 2025 Bellish Prize. Shevin assesses the impact of the ILG's 1920s contract clause requiring companies to pay 25% of the payroll when using non-union labor. Shevin is a doctoral student here at NYU. Natalia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Brian, and for the committee for picking my paper. I feel very honored to be on this bill, and thank you, Jennifer and Mary Anne. Congrats to you. It's an honor. So I have just a minute, and so I just have one thought that I wanted to share with you about this process. I definitely didn't know what liquidated damages was 2 years ago. I don't think I've ever said it this many times in my life. I didn't think that it would be something that I would say this often, liquidated damages. And that really leads me to just being very grateful for the research process. I was interested in the financial strategies of organized labor, and particularly the ILGWU. And so as I was reading everything I could about that, I came across one really short mention of liquidated damages in Eileen Boris's chapter in Sweatshop USA. And I said, that is really interesting. And I did what a lot of grad students do and followed the footnotes, and just came across this topic that became really interesting to me because it's kind of technical, it's legal, it's kind of wonky, but it illuminated these really important questions about dynamics between leadership and rank and file, between business and labor, between government regulation and labor. And so I'm just very grateful. Maybe it's just because it's after Thanksgiving, but I'm thinking about gratitude, and I'm just thankful for the time and the patience that I got to have doing this project. So thank you again.
The 2025 Barbara Wertheimer Prize for undergraduates is being awarded to Simone Harko Felton, a student at Yale University, for her essay, Housewives in the Collective Home, A Domestic History of Cooperative Housing in New York City. Felton has written an excellent paper on the two generations of the Amalgamated Union's cooperative apartments. The first ones opened in 1927, and the Penn South apartments opened in 1962. Simone is currently traveling out of the country and will be unable to speak with us tonight. In choosing her topic, Simone has said that she wanted to write a truly grassroots social history. She succeeded, and we are grateful to have had the opportunity to read it. You can see the abstract on the website, and there are other copies in the back if they're still available. So even though she's not here, I suppose we should give her a round of applause. I would like now to introduce Kim Kelly, an independent journalist and author of the Fight Like Hell, The Untold Story of American Labor. Fight Like Hell has been named the best book of the year by The New Yorker and by Esquire. Kelly, as the New York Times observes, unearths, quote, the stories of the people, the farm laborer, domestic workers, and factory employees behind some of the labor movement's most biggest successes. Kim.
Hello. All right, you can hear me, right? I know I look like this, but I have a little mouse voice, so I'm very glad for the microphone. And I have 5 minutes, so I won't vamp too much. But shout out to our queen, Jennifer Abruzzo. As a labor reporter, we're obsessed with you. I'm not even joking. So I am absolutely going to ask for a selfie after this. But I'm here to talk about my friend Mary Anne, who, she's just the best. We know she's the best. But I'm just really grateful to have the opportunity to tell her and to have everyone here celebrate her and her work. And I remember the first time we really hung out, it was when my book first came out, and she invited me to come talk to her students at Hofstra. And I didn't really realize where it was in relation to the rest of New York City. And there was a lot of panicky, oh my God, there's traffic, oh my God, I'm late, oh no, texts that I sent to Mary Anne. And her response was always like, it's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll get it done. And we did, and it was great. And I remember hanging out with her after and talking until it got so dark. She was like, oh, you gotta get out of here. And that really meant a lot to me, because I'm a self-taught pseudo-historian-ish kind of guy. I'm not academically trained or anything, but I love history. I love working people's history. And people like Mary Anne make me feel like there's space for folks like me in this world, because obviously she is an incredibly brilliant and accomplished educator and writer and author and all the other things, activist, but she's also like, she's a worker. Like when I first got here and got to say, oh, what are you doing? How's it going? How's the new book? Are you gonna do an event in Philly where I live? She's like, oh, well, maybe after finals, because she's still going to work. And that's why I think the work that she does resonates so much with not just me, but everyone here, everyone in the labor world. Because just like Jennifer Abruzzo was talking about her incredible efforts to ensure the most vulnerable workers had a seat at the table, Mary Anne makes sure that their voices are preserved and heard and given a chance to shine, even a century after the fact. I mean, we're mere steps away from the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory Fire Memorial, which I'm sure you know Mary Anne had a little bit of a hand in, just a little pet project. And on top of that, she, with collaborator Edwige Giunta, she put out a book that created another physical archive of the voices and stories about these young immigrant women who were failed, were sacrificed, were condemned to these terrible deaths because of who they were and the value that was placed on their labor. And that we wouldn't have that without her dedication to those vulnerable voices, to those voices that would otherwise have been buried and lost. And I'm a little biased, but I am extra excited about her more recent work on Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, The Rebel Girl. You know, it takes one to know one. And of course, Mary Anne was writing about her. I was so excited when I saw the announcement, because that's another incredible labor figure who was no BS, truly just a gritty, formidable person who I think, hasn't really gotten her due, because she was complex, she was radical, she did not keep her mouth shut, even when men in the movement and outside of it told her not to. And I just think it's so perfect and fitting that Mary Anne was the one to bring her story back into the spotlight again. And I know she got to do a little work in this building, so shout out to everyone here for keeping those incredible records safe. But I think there's a lesson there in just the kind of teacher and activist and steward of history that Mary Anne is. Like, she actively goes out of her way to make sure we don't forget these women and these people who have been shunted aside for being not important or too complicated, too radical. She makes sure that we remember the girls. And I've gotten to see Mary Anne in action too when I was out there. And just seeing her, the way she connected with her students and with the folks that came to the event, just seeing them light up because they could recognize themselves in her. Like, Mary Anne's one of us. So working stiff, comes from a union family. Of course, she's very, accomplished and incredible, and we're here celebrating her, but, you're also a regular guy. That's one of the things I love about you. And you're part of this chain. You're this beautiful link in this unbreakable chain that connects workers throughout generations and across oceans. And you're a fighter, you're a dreamer, you refuse to give up, even when you have to go up against the entire city of New York to get what you want. And honestly, you just really inspire me. I don't want to be too sappy up here, but you're awesome. And I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to come up here and tell you that, and to remind all of you about how much she rules. So I'm really honored to introduce her and present her this award and to call her my friend. So, Mary Anne Trasciatti.
How do I move the slides forward? You do. I'll give you the thumbs up. So I have a couple pictures that I want to show. So first of all, I have to say that it feels really weird to be giving a talk to an audience in New York City without asking anybody for money for the Triangle Fire Memorial. Now, you're welcome to give money to remember the Triangle Fire Coalition, but I'm not asking you to do that. It's the first time in over a decade that I haven't been grubbing for money. So having said that, thank you very much to the New York Labor History Association, Rachel Bernstein, Sherry Kane, Shannon O'Neill, and everyone who helped put this event together, and Kim Kelly for the generous introduction. I'm honored to be the recipient, co-recipient of the 2025 John Commerford Labor Education Award, along with Jennifer Abruzzo. And also, I'm honored to be here with Natalia, vicariously with Simone. Congratulations on your good work, and I look forward to reading it and many other things in the future. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm especially excited to be part of this because there are so many superbad women being honored. Love the men, but it's really great to be here with all you terrific women. I'm also deeply moved that fellow members of Remember the Triangle Fire Coalition, my Hofstra colleagues, my terrific husband and Sherpa, and other friends, and just good-hearted people that I am lucky enough to know are here to celebrate with Jennifer and Natalia and me and Simone. The labor education work that I do links labor history with present-day struggles of workers to build power. And as Kim mentioned, I do come from a union family. My mom was a member of the ILG. My dad was a member of the transport workers. So it's personal, but it's also something more than that, right? This history, labor history, is all about solidarity. And Jennifer talked about that, I think, quite eloquently. It's made up of stories, countless stories, too many of which we don't know, of workers taking action together to make a better life for themselves and a better world for all of us. And there are many people in this room who have been, looking at May, for example, Sherry, who have been Brendan, who have been part of these struggles. And I tip my hat to you. The stories of these struggles, the moxie, the creativity, the genius of workers in the past can inspire us to work collectively and build power today. And that's why it's so important to tell those stories whenever and wherever we can. And what I love about doing labor history is the collective, collaborative nature of it. And even my academic work in labor history has been collaborative. So everything from curriculum development, Greg DeFreitas, I'm looking at you, and Conrad Harold, and Joe Bartolotta, right? People I've worked on labor curriculum at Hofstra. It's been a wonderful collaboration. The collections that I have edited on place-based labor history with Bob Ferrant, who's an incredible public historian, who was involved with the centennial of the Bread and Roses strike, or with Edvige Junta, Talking to the Girls, which Kim Schiller has an essay, right, about the Triangle Fire. That's been incredibly collaborative, a gift, really. And the book about Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, which I could not have done with the archivists all over the country, but especially here at Tamiment. The collection is just incredible. I have to admit, I miss the old space. I used to love going in there with this big painting of Flynn, who kind of looks like my grandmother, looking down on me. But the stuff is still here, and it's wonderful, and none of us who do research could do it without the librarians and archivists who make the work together. Lisa Merrill right there, how many times over text, oh, I found this great thing in the archives, right? And then it's, I'm off to the races. So that's collaborative, right? And right now, my husband and I are working on a project on food and radical organizing, and we are collaborating together, and we'll collaborate with countless others before that actually becomes a book, right? But I think the collaborative nature of labor education, labor history education, is, at least for me, is most palpable in the public-facing work. And I saw this right away. And my first time really doing this kind of work was in 2012, when my colleague Lisa Merrill directed this fantastic project, Democracy in Performance. So Hofstra hosted the 2008 presidential debate, and Lisa and colleagues organized this wonderful performance project, Chautauqua style, all over the campus outside. And so when we hosted the debate again in 2012, and she said, would you like to participate? I said, sure, having never done historical performance before, right, where you use the historical words of a character to become that character and then speak. And so Lulu Lolo and I put together a program called From Tragedy to Triumph, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory Fire and the Bread and Roses Strike. And Lulu was Rose Schneiderman. And if you've ever experienced a Lulu Lolo performance, you know that it's really cool. And Lulu is an awesome Rose Schneiderman at the Metropolitan Opera House after the Triangle Fire. It was wonderful. And I was Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, my hero. And I even wore a corset, so never let it be said that I did not suffer for my art. So it's really hard, by the way, to go to the bathroom in a corset. If you've ever tried to do it, you know what I'm talking about. So we were doing this outside, and I had memorized. I was listening to Tom Morello all morning to get me in the right mood, and I was giving my talk about the Bread and Roses strike up in Lawrence, and there were these, what were they, elementary school students sitting in front, and they all got swept up in it, and they started chanting, "Strike, strike, strike," and I thought, oh my gosh, I love this. This is wonderful. And then the Hofstra upper administration walked by, and I thought, it's even better now. And I've been hooked ever since on doing this kind of work where you're out there. I love teaching in the classroom, but being with people outside the university is wonderful. I was looking at these kids and I thought, oh my gosh, Lulu and I, we're forming future union supporters, strike supporters, union organizers, strike leaders. And it was wonderful. And yet it paled in some ways in comparison to the next project that I took on with Lulu and with so many other people in this room, the Triangle Commemoration, the Triangle Memorial Project. That was an incredible collaborative effort with Remember the Triangle Fire Coalition, SEIU, the Central Labor Council, New York University, FDNY, New York State, the Build Team, the American Society for Safety Professionals. I mean, I could keep tossing out individuals and organizations all night, but I won't do that. But I will say that through this work, I have met some of the best people that I am ever going to know. And I'm looking at so many of them right now. It's so moving. And the collective nature of Triangle memory work is obvious, right, on March 25th, thereabouts, right, every year. And that's a tradition that's been going on since the 1980s, gathering in front of the building and paying our respects to the workers who died, saying their names, laying the flowers, but then also paying our respects to the workers who died more recently, none of whom, by the way, should have gone to work and not come home, right? So we hold them dear. We will never, ever forget them. But now that the memorial's on the building, and if you haven't yet seen it, I really urge you to go see it. It's been there since October 2023, wow. I have felt that power, that collective, collaborative power at other times too. So whether it's talking to school teachers who are planning to bring their students there, or showing labor organizers from the UK who come and want to see the site, or labor reporters, or just family members, friends who are interested, organizers in other industries. I'm meeting up with some sex workers at the site over the holiday break. But one moment in particular stands out for me where this really hit home. And it was when last May I got an email from Sherry saying, hey, a bunch of Nike workers from Southeast Asia are coming and they want to the US. And they're going to be in Oregon because that's where Nike headquarters are. But then they want to come and see the Triangle Memorial. Do you want to come? And a bunch of us said sure. And so we went that day. And they were here to basically say to Nike, look at us, see us, acknowledge that we exist, pay us what we are worth. Your profits are made through our labor. What a familiar story, right? And they were amazing. They wanted to come to New York and see the Triangle Fire Memorial. And if you could, and so we did. We brought them there. And when we did, this is 3 of them from Indonesia, they made the connection. They read Kevin Baker's beautiful text, which ends basically by saying, this is a memorial for all workers, for you and everyone else. And we told them the story, we talked about it, they had the text read out loud, and they made the connection, right, between 1911 in New York City and 2025 in Indonesia or Bangladesh or India or anywhere that workers, them and other workers like them, are being exploited. And they were inspired by the moxie of Clara Lemlich and by the refusal of triangle workers before and after the fire to be cowed, to believe that they're anything less than human beings who deserve every good thing in this world, bread and roses too, right? And I was inspired by them. I thought, wow, I remember I said to my husband, this is why we built this memorial, for these women and for others like them. Triangle is their story, and this is their memorial. And there they are. So it's a gift, I think, to do this kind of work. For them, for you, for me, for all of us. And I look forward to many more years of doing it in solidarity with you, with the young people coming up behind us, including Anna Lee, great job, and with Nike workers and all workers in all industries all around the world. So we got a lot of work to do. Let's get to it. Let's do it together. Solidarity forever.
That was amazing. Thank you, Mary Anne, and thank you, Jennifer. I want to say thank you to Shannon and all the NYU events team and TV team that helped make this happen, and all the New York Labor History Association board members who've been working on this for decades. We hope that everybody will go out into the night really not just inspired, but ready to do something in the footsteps of these incredible women we've been listening to. I just want to mention that for many years we did literally sing Solidarity Forever as we ended the event. Tonight we have something that I think is going to be even better, a song that Greg Doughty actually wrote himself called Water for My Journey. So we're going to listen to him and then invite you to come back and finish off the snacks and drinks and join the Labor History Association. Thank you.
Well, for my part, this has been an awesome evening. To listening to the speakers, I've gotten an education. There were some things said that I didn't know about, and it just kind of feeds me. This song, Water for My Journey, I want to offer it up tonight as a way to maybe nourish your spirits, with the belief that wherever we are in our lives as individuals has been attained because so many other people have poured into our lives to help us to get where we are. That's what the song is about. Water is the metaphor for the people in our lives that we need just to help us be who we are. I need water for my journey, water for my soul. I need strength to hold my head high as I travel on this road. Remind me always to speak kind words to every living soul. Water for my journey, water for my soul. We all need help to make it in this life. We all need strength to fight the misery and strife. You are my brothers and sisters, and we can make it in this life. I'll bring you water for your journey and strength for your soul. Give me water for my journey, water for my soul. Give me strength to hold my head high as we travel on this road. Remind me always to speak kind words to every living soul. Water for my journey. Yeah, yeah, I need water for my journey. Water, water, I need water for my journey. And water for my soul. Water for my soul. Thank you.